Clay Entertainment's journey through reimagining Don't Starve Together in 2019 sure was a busy one, and for us, the prospect of brand new content became more of a reality on January 22nd with the legendary Don't Starve Together roadmap. As it stands today, we can surely say that Clay delivered on their word when it came to releasing a batch of brand new content, as together we can now experience 4 significant updates that have seemingly changed the game forever. Now, while it is up for debate whether or not these aforementioned updates are a proper step in the right direction, we've already had said discussion. So perhaps instead, we should turn our attention to part 2 of Clay's promise for last year, their want to bestow love upon our group of whimsical survivors. Character refreshes, or reworks as we have taken to call them, were meant to revamp our cast by granting them new or refined abilities, gifting exclusive items meant to further the uniqueness of each, and perhaps more importantly, give us their backstory to help strengthen our bonds with our core group of growing survivors. And by the end of today, we will all come to find that these refreshes more or less accomplish their goal. However, we must not forget part 3 of Clay's promise, the proposed introduction and eventual addition of 4 brand new characters that were to enter the constant and join our team. That was their plan, at least, and we still aren't sure if they stay true to it, as the phrase quote-unquote new character seems to still be up for interpretation. But as I said prior, 2019 was quite the busy year for our little survival game here, wasn't it? If you're curious as to how I feel about the character refresh versus new character conundrum that oddly isn't being talked about much anymore, I feel as if we got 5 new character reworks and 2 new characters overall. At the end of the day, the official lingo of it all doesn't matter in the slightest because we still got enjoyable content out of it all regardless, right? Right. Here's my thought process though, just so we're on the same page. Wynona's update was a rework. Absolutely no doubt there, especially because it was literally the first one ever. Willow's update was a rework. Again, absolutely no doubt to be had there. Woody's update was rework times 2 for Pete's sake, so no argument whatsoever. But these next two are where the line potentially gets drawn. Varley's and Wormwood's respective updates. Now, they're most certainly new to this dimension of the constant. However, they have been living and dying in others for a very long time. So again, can we really call them new? Clay has done just that, I believe, but we aren't here to argue against any of that. We're here to simply take a look at all 7 of these character reworks and releases that came to the game in 2019 and simply offer our thoughts, feelings, and heck, maybe even final judgments on them all. Spoiler alert though, they were all pretty darn good at the end of the day. But without further ado, let us travel back to March 1st, 2019 to a post on Clay's website outlining some scarce detail of what would be their first character rework, Winona. Without question, the hype around the idea of a new Winona was swirling, but nothing would beat the elation felt on the actual release come March 7th, as with this character refresh came the very first animated short titled Next of Kin. It was everything we'd been waiting for. Lore. A mysterious gathering of newspaper clippings, blueprints, advertisements, and more sent the community into a frenzy, attempting to piece it all together just like the very individual who had assembled it in the first place. And we were given a glimpse into Wynona's difficult past and unfortunate future. The historic Voxola factory, one of the first ever portals constructed, the boss man, Charlie, and the inevitable plunge into the unknown for our girl here. It was all there. It was all we had ever wanted. But what about Winona herself? did her rework actually rework anything? Yes, in fact, very much so, as it was within this update that we saw the introduction of Wynonna's catapults, spotlights, and generators, along with some speedy, character-specific crafting mechanics that have since underwent some tweaks, mind you, but her 2 generators are both easily craftable, all things considered, and obviously offer varying efficiency based on fuel used and the total number of connected machines. Note that the smaller generator uses niter, while the gemerator uses gems, respectively. Her catapults also fall under the easily craftable category, which lends to them being amazing tools of potential destruction nowadays due to their range, damage, and versatility. We have plenty of videos showcasing their farming potential and just straight up damage, so watch those to get a better idea of Wynonna's newfound place in said farming and combat hierarchy. However, do know that there is no need to watch anything related to her spotlights because they are garbage and looked weird then and are still garbage and look weird today. Shame, really. I always thought there was a promising thing there. Winona has always been in a strange place in the eyes of the player base, I feel. They labeled her as a Wilson clone for many months before this rework, and then following it, they still continued to give her less credit, even though these changes effectively separate her from the prior label. Listen, I realize that her rework wasn't the most groundbreaking thing in the world, and certainly not what many had predicted, which, honestly, that kind of lends to some of the unwarranted negative feedback, does it not? But, to me, this character rework was exactly what a character rework and a character like Winona needed from such a revamping. Not too much, not too little, and the changes that did come were relevant to her and her alone. Her trusty tape is as trusty as ever. Her catapults are efficient killing machines that honestly just give us a break from an aging, faulty combat system. They're just fun to use, you know what I mean? And the lore implications that came with her update were massive, just absolutely massive, out of this world. And as I look back now, all these months, I must admit that perhaps even I was a little harsh on her here and there. But apart from the dumb spotlights, she was, and is, still a stud. The Winona rework. Approved. But you know what I think really aided in drowning out Wynonna's potential? The fact that somehow, some way, Clay Entertainment would be looking to release an entirely new character just 3 weeks following their first ever refresh. This character? Wartox, the Soul Starved. On March 28th, 2019, the Don't Starve community was enthralled by this playful imp, and little did we know just how playable he'd actually become. But let's highlight the highlights once more. We were, again, graced with another animated short, this time titled Possessions, and in it, we got to bear first-hand witness to Wartox's colorful past before a terrible curse befell him. The short, once again, offered a beautiful view into this world we have grown to love and or hate, while making it feel real in the process. Character interactions being befitting of them all. Odd but fun narration, I guess, and just a solid introduction to who would become one of the best characters in all of Don't Starve's history. Being the Soul Starved ain't easy. Or is it? Cause most everything in the game drops a soul, and Wartox here can hold up to 20 at a time within his inventory before a soul explosion occurs. That being said, the farming and storage capabilities of souls are through the roof, mind you. The imp can eat souls to restore 18 hunger at the cost of 5 sanity each munch. But do keep in mind that this is in place due to normal foods only restoring half their respective values upon eating them with Wartox. To mitigate this, he can also drop souls on the ground to heal himself and others, making him the one and only true healing class in the game as we speak. As yes, they heal other nearby players as well for a significant margin to boot. 20 to 13 points, depending on the number of players about, if you actually want the numbers. These souls also lend to him hopping through space and time, as one soul equals one soul hop, an ability similar to that of the Lazy Explorer, as both let you travel vast distances in seconds. Only soul hopping doesn't cost sanity at all. This ability also aids in combat, as invincibility frames are present at the time of use too, as long as the timings are right, that is. But an incredibly effective healer and a sly, worthy fighter, yeah, Wartox was and is still fantastic. It doesn't even matter that pigmen, catcoons, and bunnymen are going to be hostile to him, because everything else about him trumps his downsides to begin with. And those mob mechanics are not gonna bear any weight once you accept that you're just not gonna be using them like you do with the other survivors. It's just that simple. I honestly can't think of anything more to say about Wartox. He truly is one of the best characters in the entire game. And dare I even use the dreadful overused phrase, he's OP. But before we move on, there is something I want to give attention to first, and that is how Wartox and the new characters to follow are actually unlocked. That being through a hefty amount of in-game currency, aka spools, or via real-world money. Listen though, if you're one of the individuals who truly believes that Wartox, Wirt, and or Wormwood are pay-to-win additions to the game, you need help. Seriously. Like, are you telling me that we haven't been able to win the game before? That just because a new character is powerful, that it will automatically help you progress? The answer is simple. Nope. The unlock mechanics for Wartox and the characters to follow are 100% reasonable. So, moving on. For it's Willow's time to shine, or better yet, arise from the ashes with her rework and animated short titled From the Ashes. So wow, good one there, Beard. But if you were looking for an animation that delivered on a character's origins while instilling a sense of fearful admiration for said character, this was it. It's not a typical short, mind you. It's a memory. A tragic one at that. Also, it does its fair share of teasing the potential of nightmares and what they truly are in the eyes of our survivors. So be sure to give it a watch yourself via the links down below. Willow's rework wouldn't hit the mainstream until May 7th, 2019. Well over a month after the Wartox update. But it would establish a far more structured release schedule for the characters to come. Willow's rework was right up there with Wynona's in the sense that it didn't see too much change and yet kept whatever changes did come in the appropriate realm of the character. She was now immune to fire damage, like her solo counterparts, and took less damage from overheating overall. But in stark contrast, she was now more easily frozen via deer clops, ice staffs, or even the environment, and took more damage from the freezing temperatures. But at the end of the day, she was simply still the Willow we knew, lighter, burny, and all. And in fact, this rework might have actually been a Bernie rework if we think about it. Because not only did now holding him help Willow's sanity and temperature loss, only just a little bit, but he was now able to grow to massive proportions to help fight hostile mobs with respectable efficiency on top of retaining his ability to taunt nightmare creatures to boot. Now that is one stellar Build-A-Bear, I'd say. Willow was also no longer gonna take any sanity loss from being cold. She was able to put out smoldering objects and items without taking any damage and would do so faster than others. She is also just more efficient at fueling fires themselves, still gained sanity by being by said fires, and could still cook via her own lighter. The only other downside, and continues to be, is the fact that winter clothes are less effective on her, but that's manageable through thermals and just simple planning. Yup, she was and is still very, very good. Willow went from a character with very little spark for so long to a character of roaring potential. Like, she literally rose from the ashes of her own grave, and the game is far better for it. Especially when you just consider the skins that came with our Fiery Girl update too, because my goodness gracious, the skins for the other updates were pretty darn good. But this was the start of like, oh my gosh, that's an amazing set. But the Willow rework, darn near perfect in my eyes. Darn near perfect. It was exactly what other reworks, at least I was hoping, would strive for if they want to satisfy the new while appeasing the old. Well done, Clay. Well done. And I don't know who over there had the gut feeling to sprout new life into this end of the continent with the addition of Wormwood, but I can't say I blame them. You all must have felt the same way too, as on June 6, 2019, our plant-loving friend was lonesome no more, as we were once again given a post on the website detailing his changes, while leaving yet another animated short for us to drool over. Lunar Roots, as it was called, fit so well with the theme of the game at that time, as it was but a month before that we had gotten our first taste of the return of them, and thus the lunar content. As alluded to earlier, people have questioned whether he qualified as a new character or a rework, or heck, even went as far as to claim that he didn't even belong in Don't Starve Together, myself being one of those people if I'm honest. But since then, my feelings toward him have easily shifted, and I find his presence to not only be fitting, but needed. Wormwood's thirst for life is not only something we all need nowadays, but his love for all things horticulture allow him to plant seeds wherever he pleases, and will actually gain 10 sanity by doing so. But this sanity gain also comes from planting resources, like saplings, grass tufts, or even berry bushes. On the contrary though, he loses various amounts of sanity from burning, digging, chopping, and or picking plants. So playing him is like being in a constant battle against going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He also hates fire and will take more damage from fiery sources, so be very mindful there. But his biggest disadvantage, foods cannot and will not heal him in any way, shape, or form. All the other stat regens will occur, but say bye-bye to just munching them healing foods for the most part. He also blooms in spring, which accounts for increased movement speed at the cost of higher hunger drain, and has 3 stages to it. Eye plants are completely neutral to him, offering him several unique gameplay advantages over his fellow survivors. He has character-specific uses for manure, guano, and even the bucket of poop, in that all 3 can be used to heal him outright, albeit with minimal effects, but still kinda cool. And of course, his very own green thumb crafting tab is god tier, dare I say, as we have shown in the past, and it is practically self-sustainable too, and has some of the best alternatives to pre-existing items across all of Don't Starve. So yeah, Wormy is worthy, it would appear. I'm gonna make this short and sweet. Wormwood is not the best, but certainly not the worst. He is unique and offers a different style of play over everyone else. And what more can you ask for, really? We can sit here and debate whether he should count as a new character all day long, but if we just take him as he is, I have no argument against him, as I initially did, mind you. Wormwood the Lonesome is here to stay, and his place in the character hierarchy may actually be higher than you give him credit for. So just give him a try. And the same goes for Varley, everybody, as on July 18th, 2019, he too made landfall in Don't Starve Together. And you know what? I'm not even going to ruin this short by talking over it for a while. Go watch this heart-wrenching story of family and love yourself. We all need to be reminded of what it means once in a while. Now that I think about it, Varley's rework wasn't really much of a character rework at all, but rather just a bunch of straight-up additions to the game as a whole, as he had now become the support character of all support characters. Sure, he still had his hunger drain, his portable crockpot, and his picky belly, but other than that, his other additions were and are still there to help the team team's survival, not just his. The 10 new additions added variety, of course, while some like Volt Goat Chad Freud earned legendary status with his new spices involved. The spices themselves added an interesting layer to cooking in general, and with recent updates, these exclusive cooking stations are still receiving new recipes like salt crystals to again help the team. Simple, yet very worthwhile at the end of the day. What else can I say, really? I do feel like this rework, Varley's rework, or, character release, depending on who you ask, of course, is the weakest of the bunch, but given his newfound purpose within Don't Starve Together, his just Freud mayhem that he and others can just unleash on the constant, it just offers a unique little thing, right? He also has a unique playstyle himself. He's all right. He's all right. Not my favorite, but fits the bill of a rework. But yeah, I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts about Varley down below. Next up, Woody and his eventual reworks. Yes, plural. Along with his updates, though, came the animated short Trees a Crowd. And to the dismay of most everybody, it offered nothing in terms of lore, instead reverting to an almost meta-like comedy scene that served no purpose but to showcase his two forms, and in the end, it didn't really even do that right either. And unfortunately, we didn't know it at the time, but this short would be the start of an unfortunate trend that has and continues to see less and less character building among these new releases. But let's just get to the point here. What? No gameplay detailing the rework before I get to my face? No, are you kidding me? Do you know how many videos we have on Woody, for Pete's sake? Too much. Absolutely too much. So here's the poop. His two reworks got him to a point that is satisfying for many. However, I still feel as if he wasn't really reworked at all. I feel like the core nature of the character is now missing somehow, and that the changes they made were not the right decisions, right? I just don't feel like they were the right decisions. Although, I accept that a couple tweaks here and there can absolutely change my entire stance on that one. But again, we have Woody videos coming out of our ears. So just go watch those for any of my thoughts, because we got one last character to cover. And that would be Wirt, the Half Pint. Wait, what? Is that seriously what they settled on for her nickname? Well, I called her Wirt the Impressionable, so I'm just gonna go ahead and stick with that. But on October 24th, 2019, we got introduced to this young merm and likely fell in love at first sight. She dropped right alongside Hollowed Knights, so her shorts got the short end of the stick, if you know what I mean, and really didn't do anything to explain her origins, her powers, or, well, anything about her, really. All it told us was that she was a merm. Somehow like the first merm child ever, and that she liked books. Yup, the shorts really went downhill after Wormwoods, didn't they? Wirt as a character is certainly a change of pace, and be that a good thing or not for some of you, it is what sets her apart. Even if pigs hate her just like they do Weber or Wartox, she's able to aid the royal merm line by building and anointing merm kings that boost the stats of all merms around, including herself, and can even take advantage of trading with said king for various goods. Some quite useful, actually. Additionally, she can craft her very own merm huts and fortifications, which will house normal and warrior merms respectively, but can only do so on marsh turf. So, it's a good thing she can craft that as well, ain't it? She loves her veggies so much that they are all she'll eat, but thankfully, she gains bonuses for doing so, even up to 60% more hunger gain from them. She can locate the dangers of the swamp, aka the hentai of below. She loves reading Wickerbottom's collection of novels, and will even gain or lose sanity by doing so. But she will also fare far better when going down with the ship, In other words, she will have less wetness applied to her upon waking up on land over that of all the others. So not bad, Wirt, not bad. With recent content updates, Wirt 2 has undergone some changes that people might not really know about. So keep in mind the sanity implications of keeping alive fish in your inventory versus dead ones. Also that the fact that her royalty kit no longer needs fish to begin with, which is a great change. But word here, she's an interesting one for me. I mean, I like her a lot, but it's not because I like her. Okay, I simply enjoy how unique she is, and at the end of the day, isn't that kind of all that matters? But then yes, I have to categorize her as a basic addition, almost forgetful nowadays. I don't know. One that certainly doesn't wow me, if you know what I mean. And I think it kind of did the same for other folks after, of course, her initial release. Every time a new character or an update comes out, everyone's, oh my gosh, this is the best thing. And then 3 weeks later, what? You know what I mean? But okay, maybe it's because Wartox is too good to compare when talking new characters. But even still, I think some of the reworks might have been more appealing than she was. She's totally fine. Absolutely fine. Just not up to snuff in my book. So, to wrap, I am not leaving you with anything profound, even after all this. I'm just going to recap my thoughts and leave the rest up to you. Besides, it is my review of these characters, not yours. So, let's get to it. Winona. A good first step for Clay, and a proper one for her character, I believe. She is a solid addition to the game. Wartox, just God tier. Enough said. God tier. Willow, a near perfect rework that certainly stands above all of them, in my opinion, in terms of feel and just everything. AKA, it just fits her character to a T, which is what every rework needs to do from here on out. Wormwood, a gutsy addition actually, that on paper seems questionable, but in the end is exactly what Don't Starve Together needed and needs. Plus, he's just kind of fun to play. Varley, again, questionable, but well suited for the game at the end of the day. I wouldn't classify it as either a rework or a new character release, but, you know, it will have to do for now, I guess. Woody will forever feel like the one that got away to me. Could have been so much better, but will likely forever irk me if I'm honest. It's alright though. He's still viable, still kind of fun to play. And finally, Wirt. The weakest of the 7, I believe, but offers a unique playstyle, so I can't truly argue against her. But there you have it, folks. Sort of a part 2 of our review of Don't Starve Together in 2019. I thank you for watching. Let me know what you think and how the game impacted you this year. And you know what? I'll be seeing you around in the constant in 2020. Bye-bye.